night for the Language House. We'll be talking about religious tolerance tonight. Switzerland voted in favor of a proposal to ban the building of new minarets in the country. France is presently considering whether to allow women to wear face veils. While the practice of Buddhism and Islam is not illegal in China, the government has imposed restrictions making the practice of these religions difficult. People who practice Buddhism are often defined as enemies of the state, and for people who practice Islam, there are limitations on Chinese citizens making pilgrimages to Mecca. Length of sermon time is limited. The Quran can only be taught in private, women cannot wear veils, and men must shave their beards. Similar examples can be found throughout the world. People in favor of restrictions on religious practice argue their position for a variety of reasons. Some argue that certain religious practices, such as women wearing a veil, are discriminatory against women and imply subservience to men. Others argue that there are national security issues behind the policies that limit religious expression because these practices are thought to represent a tendency toward extremism. There are also people who would argue that for the sake of national identity and solidarity, there must be some degree of uniformity amongst the citizens that certain displays or acts of religious practice call into question. On the other hand, many women argue that wearing a veil, for instance, is not an act of subservience to men, but an act that is important for them for the sake of their freely chosen religious beliefs. Orthodox practices are taken up by certain people, not because of any extremist tendencies that pose a danger to others, but because the practice expresses a belief and way of life that is important to a particular individual or group of people. A basic human right seems to be the freedom to practice one's religion without interference, so long as with the case of other rights, one is not causing harm to others. Policies that limit religious expressions are prejudicial and discriminatory. Should there be an international mandate for religious tolerance for countries belonging to the United Nations? Debate, decide, and vote. I will be the Secretary General of the Model UN tonight, but I will be also the representative from Morocco.